Okay, so before we start this Culture of the Universe, I just wanted to say please check below the video and see if you're subscribed, and if you're not, please do. It really helps out the channel. My main goal is to reach a lot of people with this channel, and any way you can share the video also helps out a lot too. Now after that quick announcement, let's get into this episode of Culture of the Universe. Hello. My name is Jacob Abramovich, and you are watching Culture of the Universe. On this episode, we're going to talk about web browsers. We're going to talk about their history, how they work, and more. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I'm really hoping to start doing them more. So, stay tuned, and thanks for joining us. The first ever web browser and the first ever website was the World Wide Web. It was created by Tim Berners-Lee in 1989, and it was used to manage documentation. Every time you pressed on a button, it opened a document on another computer. That is still how the internet works today. Every time you search something up, it's just fetching a document from another computer. With the original concept for the World Wide Web, it didn't even have a URL. Normally, when you search something up, you type in a URL and it brings you to that website or opens that document. As you see here on Wikipedia, this blue underlined text, this is called a hyperlink. The original World Wide Web only had hyperlinks. So this underlined text, every time you click on it, it would open a document from another computer. Then it was thought, what if, rather than just using text underlined as a button, we made every file have a name, and we made that a link. So they had the idea to invent the URL. All a URL is it's a name that is associated with a file. All modern websites have a URL. Here is me typing in a URL on the original World Wide Web, which was the first platform to ever invent the idea of a URL. Here is the URL on a modern website. Where that arrow is pointing and it says foreverandmorefilms.com, that's a URL. When you type that in, all it's doing is opening a document that's associated to that URL. And that is how the internet worked then and how it still works today. Now, we're going to talk about the next big advancement in web browsers. This is Mosaic, and it was released by NCSA in 1993. This was the first web browser to look any similar to the web browsers we have of today. This is what it looked like. This was a very huge step for web browsers. This is not Mosaic 1, because Mosaic 1 looked very similar to the original World Wide Web, but this is really where the next big advancement was, which is Mosaic 2, where they invented this graphical interface that we know today from all web browsers. Mosaic lasted for a little while as a very popular web browser. In 1995, Mosaic was bought by Microsoft and turned into Internet Explorer, one of the most popular web browsers today. This is a really cool thing I noticed. I noticed that modern websites do not work on these old web browsers. Because of changes in the coding language, whenever you open a modern website like this, all you see is a bunch of weird code because it just doesn't recognize it. Just a cool little fact I noticed. Now, before it was acquired by Microsoft in 1994, the same company that made Mosaic released Netscape. Netscape Navigator was a huge web browser and was really the precursor to Internet Explorer. Mosaic turned into Netscape, and Netscape turned into Internet Explorer. Netscape is one of the most recognizable web browsers of all time and looks almost exactly the same as the web browser of today. One very recognizable thing that Netscape is credited to inventing is the toolbar, where that red arrow is pointing and it says webmail, contact people, yellow pages, download, and channels is the toolbar, and that little thing is now on almost every web browser since then. Well, we've talked a bit about the history of web browsers, we've talked about how they work, and I think now we should know a bit more about them. I did really hope you learned something in this, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you did, try to share it with people you know. I really do want to grow this channel. And if you like this series, comment down below, because I want to know if you enjoy it and you want me to make more of these. My name is Jacob Abramovich. Thank you for watching Culture of the Universe. Jacob Abramovich, out.